What would make someone exchange his future inheritance for a single meal? In biblical times, the birthright of the firstborn son carried great value. It included a double share of the family inheritance, the honor of leading the family, and important responsibilities for the future. But for Esau, it meant even more. As the grandson of Abraham, his birthright was connected to the covenant promises God had given to his family. Yet one day, when Esau returned home exhausted and hungry, he made a decision that could not easily be undone. Watch what happened when Esau chose a bowl of stew over his birthright.
Would you trade your entire future for one meal? One day, Jacob was cooking a pot of stew when his brother Esau came home from the fields, completely exhausted. The smell of the food filled the air. Esau looked at Jacob and said, "Quick, let me have some of that red stew. I'm famished." But Jacob didn't simply hand him a bowl. He said, "First, sell me your birthright." Now, this wasn't a small thing. As the firstborn son, Esau's birthright represented a privileged position in the family and a greater share of the inheritance. But Esau was focused on one thing, his hunger. "Look, I am about to die," Esau said. "What good is the birthright to me?" Jacob made him swear an oath, and Esau agreed. Then Jacob gave him bread and lentil stew. Esau ate. He drank. He got up and walked away. Genesis ends the moment with a powerful statement. So Esau despised his birthright. He traded something of lasting value for something that satisfied him for only a moment. And that leaves us with a question. What valuable thing are we sometimes willing to sacrifice just to satisfy what we want right now? Genesis 25:29-34.
A birthright was a special privilege traditionally given to the firstborn son. It entitled him to a double share of the family inheritance, but it was not only about wealth or property. It also carried responsibility, authority, and the honor of eventually becoming the leader of the family. For Esau, the birthright had an even deeper meaning. He was the firstborn son of Isaac and the grandson of Abraham. His birthright was connected to the covenant promises God had given to Abraham, the promise of descendants, land, and blessing. One day, Esau returned from the field exhausted and hungry. Jacob was cooking stew, and Esau asked for some. Jacob replied, "First, sell me your birthright." Esau answered, "I am about to die. What good is the birthright to me?" Esau allowed a temporary feeling to influence a permanent decision. The firstborn could choose to sell or give away his birthright, but doing so meant surrendering both the inheritance and the position connected to it. Esau knew Jacob was asking for something valuable, yet he confirmed the exchange with an oath. Jacob gave him bread and lentil stew. Esau ate, drank, got up, and left. The meal satisfied him for only a short time, but his decision affected his future. Esau was not simply giving up property. His actions showed how little he valued the spiritual blessings and responsibilities connected to his birthright. That is why Genesis 25-34 says, "So Esau despised his birthright." This does not necessarily mean that Esau hated it. It means he treated it as insignificant and failed to recognize its true worth. We can make similar choices when we trade our integrity for quick success, our peace for temporary pleasure, or our relationship with God for something the world promises will satisfy us. When we are tired, angry, lonely, afraid, or desperate, we can become vulnerable to impulsive decisions. In those moments, we may focus only on what will make us feel better immediately, but temporary feelings should never be allowed to determine permanent choices. The lesson from Esau's story is simple. Never trade something of lasting value for something that only satisfies a temporary desire. Before making an important decision, pause and ask yourself, am I choosing this because it is truly right, or because I want immediate relief? Esau's hunger was real, but it would not last forever. If he had waited, he could have found another meal. But once he surrendered his birthright, the consequences of that decision could not be easily reversed. He exchanged something valuable and lasting for something temporary. We can make similar choices today. We may trade our integrity for quick success, damage an important relationship because of anger, compromise our faith to gain acceptance, or abandon something God has called us to do because the journey has become difficult. Sin and temptation often present themselves as solutions to an immediate problem. They promise comfort, satisfaction, relief, or pleasure, but they rarely show us the consequences that may follow. A moment of pleasure can pass quickly, but its effects may remain for years. A few careless words can damage a relationship. One dishonest decision can destroy trust. A temporary compromise can lead us farther away from God than we ever intended to go. This is why we must be especially careful when we are emotionally or physically exhausted. Hunger, loneliness, disappointment, fear, and pressure can affect the way we think. They can make temporary desires appear more important than they really are. When you feel overwhelmed, do not rush into a decision. Pause, pray, seek God's wisdom. Speak with someone you trust. Give yourself time to see the situation more clearly. What feels urgent today may look completely different tomorrow. Unlike Esau, we should learn to recognize the value of what God has entrusted to us before we lose it. Protect your integrity, your relationships, your calling, your future, and most importantly, your relationship with God. God's blessings may not always provide immediate satisfaction, but they carry lasting value. The world may offer something faster and easier, but not everything that feels good in the moment is good for your future. Do not allow temporary hunger, anger, pressure, loneliness, or temptation to make you surrender something precious. Value the blessings God has given you. Guard them carefully. Choose wisdom over impulse, patience over temporary pleasure, and obedience over immediate satisfaction. Never exchange something eternal for something temporary. It is also important to remember that the most dangerous decisions do not always appear dangerous at first. Sometimes they look like small compromises, something we tell ourselves will happen only once. We may say, "It is only one lie. No one will ever know," or "I will return to God later." But small choices can slowly shape our character and lead us in a direction we never intended to go. Esau did not wake up that morning planning to lose his birthright. The opportunity came during a moment of weakness. He was exhausted, hungry, and focused entirely on his immediate need. That is often how temptation works. It waits until we are vulnerable and then presents a temporary solution that carries a much greater cost. This does not mean that our physical and emotional needs are unimportant. Hunger, exhaustion, loneliness, and pain are real. God cares about what we are experiencing. But we must not allow those needs to become excuses for choices that go against His wisdom. Jesus also experienced hunger after fasting for 40 days. When the enemy tempted him to turn stones into bread, Jesus refused to disobey God simply to satisfy his immediate hunger. He answered, "Man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that comes from the mouth of God." Jesus showed us that obedience to God is more important than satisfying a temporary desire. Our feelings may be powerful, but they do not have to control us. With God's help, we can pause, think, pray, and choose what is right. The story also teaches us to examine what we truly value. We take care of the things we consider important. If we understand the value of our faith, we will protect it. If we value our family, we will be careful with our words and decisions. If we value our calling, we will not easily abandon it when the journey becomes uncomfortable. But when we fail to recognize the value of what God has given us, we may treat sacred things casually. Like Esau, we may not understand what we have surrendered until we begin to experience the consequences. Ask yourself, what has God entrusted to me that I need to protect? Perhaps it is your marriage, your family, your reputation, your ministry, your peace, your purity, or an opportunity God has placed before you. Do not neglect these blessings. simply because something easier or more attractive appears in the moment. Not every opportunity is from God. Not everything you desire will be good for you, and not every feeling needs to be acted upon. However, if you have already made an impulsive decision or exchanged something valuable for temporary pleasure, this story does not mean there is no hope for you. Bring your failure honestly before God. Ask for forgiveness, accept responsibility, and seek His wisdom about what you can do next. We may not be able to remove every earthly consequence of our choices, but God can forgive us, restore us, and teach us to make wiser decisions moving forward. His grace gives us the opportunity to repent and begin again. So when you are tired, angry, lonely, afraid, or desperate, remember Esau. Do not decide only according to what you feel in that moment. Pause and consider what your choice may cost tomorrow. A temporary desire will eventually pass, but the things God has entrusted to you may carry value for generations. Choose patience instead of impulse. Choose wisdom instead of temporary relief. Choose obedience instead of compromise. And choose what has lasting value over what will satisfy you for only a moment.